Not too
Well,
different.
okay.
Well, I actually, the only reason I say that is because I was going to explain it in a certain way that
Okay, go
involved
ahead,
a
sorry.
similarity. But, I mean, what's different? That's not the same. I mean, anyway. Sorry, I just totally interrupted everything you just said.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm Gabriel. We're in the Bella Trio together. So Mimi was asking me if I could do this cello sonata. So it's not a piano trio, obviously. Just while Steph, our violinist, is out of town. She's actually touring with Death Cab for Cutie. I don't know if you guys have heard of them.
Yeah.
Then,
She's on the road with
awesome.
them. She's on the North American.
yeah, so
very jealous.
she's right now like rocking out with like electric violin and stuff. So she'll be back soon. And in the meantime, we've been working on this. So just a thought about the what you've heard so far today. You're kind of hearing a sort of survey, if you will, of the big genres of music history, the big eras. Obviously, the first piece you heard was Beethoven. That's already well into music history, but it's kind of at the point where it started to get really, dare I say, important. Like, a lot of the most famous music is from the Romantic era and stuff. Before that, you have Vivaldi and classical period stuff, obviously. So, starting with, what year was it? 1801, I think they said the spring was written. So moving on to Debussy, which is the next century, right at the turn, right, 1910-ish. And you can hear how modern that is. And we're going to be playing a piece by a Russian composer named Shostakovich, I'm sure you guys have heard of. The funny thing about it is this may sound, in a way, at the beginning especially, less modern than the Debussy. He's what's called a neoclassicist. And in this case, he's almost being a neo-romanticist. He had a very tumultuous relationship with Stalin, and when you're listening to the Beethoven, and nobody loves Beethoven more than me, I mean, but here I am, because I guess because I'm playing the Shostakovich, but for the Beethoven, you got to think about looking at the piece of music sort of like it's the Mona Lisa, a beautiful fictional thing, although we kind of think maybe she was real. But anyway, we don't know who it is or what it is. It's just beautiful for beauty's sake. And in the Shostakovich, it's more like a documentary. You're seeing the Holocaust and you're seeing socialists, propaganda, and it's being displayed here in a reverse sense of the word propaganda. And there's a lot of real museum type art in this work. So I'll do my best to describe as much as I can about, actually as little as I can about it, because I can do it all day. But just a few interesting things. So it's 4 movements. So just like the Beethoven. Again, ironically, he didn't adhere to Debussy's idea of 3 movements, which was becoming the norm, or even just 1 movement where it just has a name. In Impressionism, paintings had a name anyway. They were no longer called, or whatever, or pieces of music were called nuage or whatever, as opposed to Opus 59, number 2, C sharp minor sonata. So here in the first movement, it's in sonata form, which is the form that Christopher mentioned. I'm not sure if you guys heard, but it's 80% of classical music in a way is written in this form. This is it being used, 400 years after it was even really put into practice. And there's good reason for it. Well, the beginning of this piece doesn't play like a piece written in 1936. You'll hear a lot of, like I said, romanticism and ironic humor, dark, twisted turns. And so you are going to be listening to modern music. And there are parts where it sounds quite obvious that it's not Debussy. But knowing Shostakovich's life and his music, this piece in particular, is just very personal. So, first movement is 13 minutes or so. It's long, but it's worth every second. And at the end, it's interesting to note that the beautiful thing that starts the piece is sort of killed, if you will. He has me put the mute on, which sort of makes you talking like this. So if somebody's trying to get a message across, and something that was so beautiful and outspoken at the beginning is now not only muted, but slowed down to half the tempo. So it's almost unrecognizable. So, pathetically sad. And this is something that, God bless Beethoven, the world wasn't ready for this kind of art yet, and here we see that it is. The second movement is only a 3-minute quick movement, much like the Beethoven. It's a scherzo. It's like a 3-minute thing, and it's a romp. It's as close to heavy metal, I think, as classical music gets. This is the original rebel. This is the guy rebelling against communism. So it's different than the rebels today. So I don't know. This is where it entered the human genome, I think. Third movement is, do you want to say anything about it? It's just a dirge of a movement. It's 10 minutes or so, but it's like when Beethoven writes slow music, it's beautiful but sad. And this one, it's beautiful in a very sort of disgusting way. You don't really want to look at it. But this is kind of what I think that the art of this time period gives off, is we have to live that way. That's how they were forced to live. And so thus they put it on paper so that we can understand it after they're gone. Fourth movement is a very short movement as well, a rondo, and 4 minutes or so. And there's the modern music, actually. Wait for there. Shostakova.